Welcome back to the Top 6 show. And I'm sorry we're late, but we were searching. We were searching high and we were searching low, and we couldn't find a Chelsea or Liverpool fan anywhere. 13 of them collectively in the group chat for the Top 6 show. 13 individual men and a few women in the group chat. And none of them were free. I don't know why. We know that Chelsea got outclassed. We know that Liverpool got embarrassed by Plymouth Argyle. The Green Army, if you remember those adverts back in the day. But they didn't want to show up. So a moment's silence, please, for the Liverpool and Chelsea fans who their lives are too busy. But I know if they'd have won or won big. When Liverpool win, we have to turn down Liverpool fans coming on the show. When Chelsea were in the title race, KJ's like, listen, guys, we've got too many Chelsea fans on already. What's going on? Where are you? Terrible. But welcome back. I've got a brilliant panel for you tonight with Kate, Henry, and man like Will. How are you all doing?
Good, thank you.
Can't complain.
Yeah, good weekend of FA Cup and Super Bowl. Little sleep and functioning. But yeah, I'm good, mate.
Excited for the UCL playoffs.
Yes, mate. Yes. I forgot they were this week because normally when the group stage finishes, you wait months until the Champions League comes back, but it's just like instant. And obviously we'll be previewing that a little bit later with Madrid City happening tomorrow. We're reviewing the weekend's games. We're looking at the Jadon Sancho controversy as well. Big debate about Big Ange. Is he a dead man walking? Big Ange sacked. That's the question that's circulating around a lot of the forums to do with Tottenham at this particular moment in time. So we're going to talk about all of that. Obviously, we want to hear from you all. If you haven't hit the like button yet, get that done. Make sure you're subscribing. Get the bell notification button turned on as well. Terry, I hope you are nice to Henry sometimes at least. Do you know what, Henry?
The relationship we have. It's just that.
No, but I don't. Yeah, listen. I get probably 5-6 DMs a week. Going, you're really horrible to Henry. You're always taking the mick out of him. I feel like you're bullying him. And I just wanted to take this time to say to him, say to them all, grow the fuck up. It's two fully grown men having a bit of banter. I know his feelings are. Do you know why I know his feelings aren't hurt? Because he's too dumb to understand the jokes anyway. So, so his feelings can't be hurt because he's just like
an apology.
Because it's true. Henry can only count to 20 if he's wearing sandals. He needs all 20 digits. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those ones. I can't help it. Terry mentors Henry. No, I don't actually. I don't know if people think that's true. I really, really don't. I just take the piss out of him on streams. It's as simple as that. I never ring him up and go, oh, Henry, I watched your video yesterday. And I think you should change this and say that different and do the thumbnail this way. No, I did give you one bit of thumbnail advice, actually. Don't always have the same expression. I said, change it up a bit. I have 3 or 4 different shocked faces. But I did give you that advice. So, yeah, if that constitutes as a mentor, maybe I stand corrected. But, yes, loads to talk about today. I wanted to start off, though. Look, we know Man United got lucky on Friday. We know the goal was offside. We've already put our hands up as Reds for that. But I am the only one on the panel that got a W this weekend. So... you know, I'm also going to say that we won. We're through. We're in the 5th round draw that starts in the next hour or so. But there's been a bit of controversy surrounding Man United since that game. But it's actually to do with 2 players that no longer play for Manchester United. And I wanted to get your take on this. Rashford obviously posted a picture of himself before or after. It doesn't matter when he posted it. The Villa game in his kit. And presumably it became after. And Jadon Sancho commented saying, freedom, with a few emojis like hands praising it. There are some United fans that were not bothered. There are others that have reacted in a very negative way, very angry way. There are rivals that are saying this shows, you know, he's immature, he's a disgrace, this is why he never made it at Man United. What do you all make of this? Is it disrespectful to do what Sancho did? Or is he just backing a friend? I'm going to go to Will first. How do you see that yourself, mate?
Yeah, I think a lot of United fans are a little sensitive when it comes to Jadon Sancho. It's like we don't understand that these footballers are human. So, and they're also friends, right? Sancho, Marcus Rashford. we all know how it ended with Sancho, right? The whole Ten Hag situation where he was banished from the team, went on loan to Dortmund. Now he's at Chelsea. And then we saw how things kind of played out with Marcus Rashford there. If you don't think that all these players talk to each other, right? Because I don't think Sancho would have commented that on Rashford's page if they kind of didn't speak behind the scenes about things already. It's not that big of a deal, right? I don't view it as disrespectful. And Marcus Rashford, for the time being, is free, right? He's escaped the Arkham Asylum that we know as Manchester United. You guys are not good, right? You have no managerial bounce. You've still been trash. And if he feels like he's now free, same thing with Sancho at Chelsea, then they're allowed to say it. What's disrespectful is how when Sancho was going through the situation with Ten Hag, how United fans were talking about him. That's disrespectful, right? When Jadon Sancho got the move to Chelsea, and then how you guys continue to slander him. That's disrespectful. So if I was Sancho, I'd have said a lot more than just freedom. I might have did a Ronaldo and had a interview with somebody slandering the club. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? When you leave on bad terms, you can't expect players to necessarily show you any kind of loyalty, right? Like, I think that we have to use real life common sense when it comes to these footballers, which a lot of people don't. So for me, not a big deal, bro. Freedom. Marcus Rashford's free. He goes from being in the bottom half of the table, playing in Europa League, to now he's advanced to the next round of the FA Cup, just like United did, but he's in the Champions League knockout stages, and he's going to be fighting for a European place in the Premier League. So technically, he is free. The truth just hurts. That's just what it is.
Do you not think there's a I know obviously what he's meant to say in freedom, but I see on replies to that, someone was saying, is he just talking about freedom to play? Is it like instead of freedom from the shackles of Man United? Because when I saw Rashford, he was playing with a smile on his face. He was enjoying himself. Like, are we just taking this completely out of context? Is he not even meant this as a dig? Are people just being too sensitive? Like, I don't know. Obviously, that's not the way I think it. I think it's just basically put two fingers up to Man United and just says, look, now you're out of that absolute cesspit of a changing room. And now he's back to playing. He actually looked really good against us. I'm not going to lie. Nutmegs, running with pace.
To be fair, Henry, I would have looked good against us at the weekend. Let's be
trying
fair.
to give Rashford some props, Kate. But I take him right now, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think he'll do really well at Villa. I could see that definitely being a permanent signing. But yeah, I think people are just overreacting a little bit. It's just one comment. He's not like he said anything, with the Man United name in it. He's just put a comment.
Yeah. Look, I look at it this way. None of us know his true intentions. But I think when Pogba posted the picture when Jose was sacked, I think it was like, what now, or what you saying now? Something along those lines. Somebody in the comments will remember properly. You're still at the club. He's an ex-manager. Don't bring extra pressure upon us. Don't do it. I feel like if Sancho was still here, don't do it as an example. But he's no longer a Man United player. I think, is he official? He's on loan with an obligation, but he's not. He's with obligation to buy. He's not going to be a Man United player ever again. I don't follow him on. I might follow Sancho. I might follow Rashford. I only follow a handful of footballers. But I don't. If I see a footballer post, I might like it. Who reads the comments? This is the thing for me. The people that are angry at him, typically, when you read what they've said, you can tell they don't like Sancho. You can tell a lot of them don't like Rashford. So why are you even on his post? Why are you even... for me, I look at it like I'm so indifferent about this. It's a case of, he said something that you could argue. Yeah, there is a freedom element. I actually do think that the players, rightly or wrongly, will feel that, well, I should have got more game time. I should have got the opportunities that Garnacho got. I should have got the opportunities that this player had. They'll think that way, and they're speaking out a bit. We keep asking for players to have personality. Then we see some personality and we want to shut it down. When you ask for personality, you are going to get a situation where you hear things you don't want. We see this on X all the time. Oh, we need someone like Elon Musk to buy it because too many things are censored. Oh, Elon, can you censor that? That hurt my feelings. Well, what do you want? Do you want it to be open or do you want it to be censored? when you advocate for things to be censored, at some point, the Overton window is going to change and it's going to censor you. You know, we want footballers to speak their minds. I'm all for it. I look at it from this lens. If and when we then get one over on him, there's more fun and banter. So you learn to accept these things. Don't whinge and cry and moan about them online. I don't really think it, just what I'm trying to do more of. Have I got the time and the energy in my day to speak about it? Of course, on the podcast, because people care. But me as an individual in my day-to-day life, I scrolled past it and went, oh. But then I kept on scrolling today. I got to checking up on the news. And I just keep seeing people crying and crying and crying and boo-hooing and mummy and, oh, I need bitty. That's all I kept on seeing. And these are grown people. I couldn't quite believe it. It's a strange one for me. It really, really is.
If I was Man United fan, Terry, I would just be thinking, well, good riddance. I think he's played 19 games for Chelsea, got 2 goals and 6 assists. He's not pulling up trees. So I just think that. But
that's the banter. Sorry, I'll let you go again in a second. Sorry, that's the banter. He's got 1 assist in his last 13 games.
Exactly.
If you're gonna clap back in any way, say I don't know. I'm not very good at this sort of thing, but what's your freedom giving you? 1 goal in.
But they do that anyways, though, Terry. There's United fans since he's moved to Chelsea. You see online, right, on Twitter more so, where people are, they're pulling up his stats, or if he has his SOFA score rating is really low. So they've been doing that this entire season, and then he says freedom, and then those same people are crying because it might have been a dig at your club. It's bro, you guys have been harassing him for
You can't if you can't take it. Don't give it. Sorry, but Kate, back to you. Sorry, my apologies.
No, that's all I was going to say. Basically, what you just said. I mean, why cry about what he says? He's not pulling up trees at Chelsea. I'd just be thinking, yeah, whatever. You're shit. Just crack on. I don't understand why United fans are taking it so personally. Myself, but each to their own.
Sancho is shit, Kate.
I don't think he's very good. Not in the Premier League. I think abroad is different. But I don't think he's very good in the Premier League. I think his attitude doesn't look great to me either. He always looks like he's a bit of a sulker, and I wouldn't want him at Spurs even if we could afford him. Although he's probably better than everything we've got, I still wouldn't want him at Spurs.
I think he's a player. He's got a lot of ability, and I think when it's going right for the team, he shines. He's got a lot of can go on the outside, can go on the inside. He's very, very skillful, but he's always one where when it's not going right, he's walking around, sulking. But yeah, he's definitely got a lot of ability. His record for Dortmund was, I think he's only one of 3 players to get double digits for goals and assists. I think he got 2020, didn't he? There's only 3 players in the top 5 leagues that have done that. And I think the other 2 are Henry and Messi. So
but that's what I mean. I think
his
abroad,
output was incredible.
I think abroad he can do it. I just don't think he can do it in the Premier League. But that's my personal opinion.
It was interesting this weekend watching Sancho and the feedback. Don said this, and then I saw a funny video, Matisse critiquing it. It was almost his inability, not inability, a strong word, his lack of desire to try and take on his fullback. And it was interesting hearing Chelsea fans say that, because that was probably, barring a few tackles he pulled out of where I thought he was really soft for United, that was my bugbear. It was a case of, hang on, you've got the fullback isolated and you keep recycling. And then you get into these debates. And I wish Staffy was here, because I'd love to just not try and pull him up or question him, because Staffy's a good friend of mine, but get his take on this, because you kind of get into these situations where it's I would say I just want my fullback, my winger, to keep attacking his fullback. Keep attacking. 7 times out of 10, maybe recycle it 3. Where there are some football fans who like their fullbacks and like their wingers, to recycle it 7 times out of 10 and maybe attack 3 times out of 10, because that maintains more possession, more control. And I suppose in the modern day game, that's considered better decision making, because you might attack your fullback 10 times and lose it in 9 of them, and people are like, well, it's bad decision making. I don't know if it is. I feel like every time you recycle that ball, sometimes it's a necessity, sometimes it keeps your opponent guessing. But I also feel like it's a bit of a cop-out. So you see this in fighting. Sometimes fighters will feint. They feint, and then they throw that punch and they land it, and they keep throwing it, and then they start feinting again. So they can get to a point where a certain technique or a certain movement has their opponent thinking, well, I don't know whether he's throwing it or feinting. Some fighters just keep feinting. And what it really boils down to is, well, I'm just not going to open up because I don't want to leave my own jaw exposed. And Sancho has that in him. He can get into ruts where he doesn't want to be the one taking the risk. He'll just hand that ball over to somebody else. And again, when I was a United fan watching him, sometimes I felt like maybe when I reflected, I agree with you, Will. The abuse he got after the fallout with Ten Hag, the way the club leaked information on him, I thought it was a disgrace, and I defended him wholeheartedly on that. But from as if by magic, could it be magic now? Hey, Staffy's here. He is in the group chat. But yeah, I looked at it and I just thought maybe and I looked and I reflected and thought maybe it was just because we always view when my kids make noise in a restaurant, I think they're being so loud. When other people's children make noise and they go, I'm sorry they're being noisy, I think I didn't even hear them. So is it because he was my player I noticed it? So I just thought it was very interesting this weekend watching Chelsea fans pull on the exact issue that I had with Sancho. And the reason my issue was so big with him on that is because I know he has more ability than anyone else in my squad to beat those fullbacks. So him not doing it used to just frustrate me to crazy levels.
First of all, big up everyone. I saw the panel was short today and couldn't leave you guys, just 4 of you.
I'm probably the tallest, Staffy. If you're talking about short people, I'm probably the tallest here. I'm just saying.
In fairness, Will's about 6'1" and Staffy's like 6'4" or something. Legit, they're big men.
Will is tall. I met Will. Will's tall. But
Henry,
that's not what I meant by short.
Henry's like 5'9" and he's really skinny fat. Really skinny. He's like really skinny but fat.
I feel like you say this every show. I mean, Henry, I'm not gonna lie. At this point, bro, you gotta throw hands. I'm gonna be real with you. You gotta throw hands, bro.
Henry has a body like when a candle was melted, it's all run down the wick. It's like a melted candle.
That's what mine's like, to be fair. So I'm not saying anything.
I mean, it's winter, and I'm stocking up on extra mass because it's cold. And then when it hits March, I'll start running again.
But not beating up chairs.
No, I didn't yesterday. No, I didn't yesterday.
I said this, by the way, last week. I said until you break that chair, you shouldn't be doing content no more. You should be
off over my head, and it was just the chair wasn't even damaged, and I was like, right, okay, I'm not doing that again. I was expecting
a backup chair, Henry.
A wheel to fall off or something. Sorry?
No, I was asking if you have a backup chair for like when that one eventually
breaks from the abuse.
All right, fair enough.
Now, but back to Sancho. Listen, the point you were making, Terry. Listen, I agree with you. I just want to say something. I heard what Will said, and he does have a point, to be honest, because United fans, the same ones that are complaining, saying he's unprofessional, I mean, to be fair, every time he has a subpar game, right away you see the sofa score, you see the Troopz meme. I mean, every person who posted that Troopz meme is still crying and saying, "Oh, but he's the most toxic player we had." But yeah, I mean, to be fair, you caused that toxicity, and I don't think Sancho should have done that. I think he did lack professionalism by doing that. You are still employed by the club. You do get your paycheck every week by Manchester United still, so it's never a good look, anyways. I mean, the next club you're gonna be at Chelsea or whoever you go next after Chelsea, they're gonna look at that. Then gonna be like, "Hey, by the way, look at this." You know, another incident where this guy sometimes can have a dig at his employer or this or that. So it is stupid, to be fair, because I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I saw too many people complaining about it. I just looked at it, I was like, okay. And I just resumed my day. I couldn't care less. Like, it didn't bother me that much. But in terms of on the pitch, I mean, to be fair, if you're gonna say something like that, you better be smashing it on the pitch, and you're really not. And one of the things that you mentioned there is about him taking his man and all that. It used to be one of my frustrations where when he recycled the ball well at United, people got pissed and like, oh, he doesn't take on his defenders enough. But to be fair, it has been a couple years. He is right now in a team that most of his teammates have significantly less experience than him. He is technically one of the, I don't mean technical, but like he's technically one of the most experienced players that are on this team. He played across Europe. He played in Champions League finals. When the team is not performing and you look for someone, he needs to be one of the names that get called upon. I said that's one thing he didn't have in his game that he hasn't worked on yet. Now, I understand the type of player he is, and Henry said it perfectly. He is a player that looks good when the team is good. And that's fine. I mean, he rarely looks bad when the whole team is performing well. The issue is when the team is not performing and it needs someone to step up, He's never added that extra element in his game where he's like, you know what? Today I'm gonna be a little bit more risky. Today I'm gonna take a little bit more shots. Today I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive. When the team is not scoring goals, I'll try to pop off with a goal. It's not his game, but he could have added that. I've seen players throughout the years kind of come out of that shell and they start working on that and they start being a little bit more impactful. He's never that X factor on any team. He's never the needle mover. And that's why right now, as bad as Chelsea have been, you look at their front line, everyone is relying on someone else to chip in with GA. So you have Nico Jackson, example, who's not getting goals. He's suffering from the fact that his wingers don't score goals, and he doesn't have a replacement to come in and he could get benched for one game and he'll get the goals. Same thing for Sancho. Same thing for Neto. They all look for someone else when the team is not scoring enough goals. They need someone else on that team to score. And when you look at their history, that is true. I mean, Neto in Wolves, he had strikers like Jimenez and whatever that were banging in goals. Sancho, when he was at Dortmund, his best time, he had Haaland next to him. You look at these players right now. If Cole Palmer is not on his best and he's just carrying this team, who's chipping in with goals? Who's gonna bail us out today when we're not playing good? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you go through a bad period of time where you're not winning enough games, and you look at the reason. All these players need someone to do that job for them, and they don't have that. So it's on him, honestly. It's on him. He should have developed that part of his game, as I said a long time ago, but he doesn't have that.
Yeah, but I think sometimes we just have to like meet footballers where they are. I don't think he's going to be that aggressive player that's going to be scoring.
That's what I said. I said he's not that, but he never added that.
No, I mean, like, that's fair enough. But I just think, like, in terms of, like, well, Sancho looks good when the team's playing good. I kind of feel like Chelsea have just fallen off a cliff these last, like, few months. Like, they've just not been as good as they were to start off the season. And, I mean, you can kind of say that for most of their players, right? Like, Pedro Neto, I think, is falling off as well. Say it again?
Sorry to cut you off. What do you think that's, like, Chelsea's downfall is because the manager, players?
I think it's more so down to the players. I think it's easy to blame the defense and the goalkeeper because it's not good. But I think that their attack has let them down massively. And not just Nicholas Jackson. Even though you could say, well, maybe if they had a more clinical 9 up front, then maybe they wouldn't have gone through this little bad run of form. But I think it's like what Staffy said. Okay, so if Cole Palmer is not on his game, then who else is there that can chip in with goals? Well, Sancho is more of a link-up striker, creator kind. Same thing with Pedro Neto. And then you kind of have, like, Nico Jackson, who's a good footballer. I just don't think that he's a good striker. And then Cole Palmer, who's the only person that you can look to be aggressive in that final third. So I think Chelsea, maybe they misprofiled when they were building this team in terms of they should have gotten more aggressive players. But I think at the end of the day, Maresca is going to be the one that gets blamed ultimately if the team fails. But I think it's more so on the players than the manager, to be honest.
Just to ask like an open question to you guys and everyone in the chat. If Chelsea don't get top 4 and don't win the Conference League, do you guys think they'll sack him?
Yes, you have to win the Conference League.
No, even if they win the Conference League, if they don't finish top 4, I think they should sack him. And I don't think it's just because he'll miss on top 4. In the beginning, I didn't think they'll make top 4 anyways. I thought they'd contend for it. But then they started magnificent. I was like, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. The stagnation in the way they just, like, you look at them the last, 6-7 games? They 10
games.
10,
to give you a
I meant like more in the league, but it's 10 games in the league.
The league, it's been 10 games across all comps. Including this FA Cup game, and Morecambe were in there as well. They've got 3 wins, and one of them was against Morecambe.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They've got 2 wins outside of that, and the performances. Again, maybe in the first 4 or 5, they were playing quite well, not taking chances, then losing late. Since then, the performances have become flat. On a results-based piece of analysis, which is important, but you shouldn't always be about results-based. Man United have been horrendous, but in our last 10 games, we have got 6 wins. Now, Chelsea have 3. Let's be honest, one of them is against Morecambe. You take that Morecambe game out, they've got 1 win and 2 wins in out of their last 10. That isn't good enough. And I do think he's, I was listening to Chelsea fans speak at the weekend. They were talking about he's running out of ideas. His substitutions are poor. Obviously, they've blamed the club for getting rid of some of the wrong players and not buying more in the window. There's a percentage of Chelsea fans, and we have a lot that come on the terrace that believe they've got a squad that's better than Arsenal's, believe they've got a squad that's better than up there with Liverpool's. And that's not a dig. But there's a reason I'm saying this. It's not even a dig. They think it's that good. Therefore, they are absolutely, even if they either still believe it. So, of course, if you believe your squad is top 2 in the league and you're 5th or 6th, of course, you're going to turn on the manager. It stands to reason if you believe it. Some others, rather than not admitting that they were wrong, will say, oh, Enzo got it wrong anyway. The point I'm actually making is that there's so many reasons to turn on Maresca and deflect away from other issues. And I was listening to a Chelsea fan stream earlier on today, and he just keeps talking about all the great strikers that he wants them to bring in the summer. And once we've got those guys, we'll be okay. I'm being honest. I'm getting to a point where I think, is it just about buying a player or two now at Chelsea? This is 7 years not challenging for a league title. I can't remember the last time they won. Is it the last time they won a domestic trophy was 2018 when they beat Man United? So we're now getting towards 8 years without a league title challenge. 7 years without a domestic trophy. They have that Champions League. I'm not saying you remove it because it's in their history, but they haven't looked like winning very much. They've even been to a few finals since then and not got over the line. But this is a club that I've just got this gut. Look, I've got the same energy for my club. I don't know if it is just a couple of players away anymore. Again, if you believe that the squad is top 2 in the league, then absolutely you just sign a couple more players and you're there and get the right manager. But is it as simple as that? Is maybe my question, because
I think that it is.
Okay.
But I think that it is that simple because I think their squad is very good. Like, I know that the run of form has not been the best, but I think they're still a young team that's still trying to learn how to play together. But I do think that it's a matter of 3 players. And I know that Henry had the question, well, do you think that Maresca would get sacked? I think the manager's always the sacrificial lamb, but I don't think he's the issue, right? Like, we saw in the January window what Chelsea needed, right? Their center backs are awful. They don't have a good center back. Levi Colwill is a bum. Trevor Chalobah is mid. Wesley Fofana is never fit. Their goalkeeper is probably the worst goalkeeper out of all the big 6 clubs. And then we know that up front, they don't have anybody that's clinical aside from Cole Palmer. And then the board, instead of addressing any one of those issues, they sign more young players that are not going to be able to help them right now. I swear that they brought in a midfielder from France on deadline day.
So, Will, I understand. So I understand that. But I was someone that was saying, and my mind is only being changed by other Chelsea fans. I'm being led by Chelsea fans here because I was of the belief that, you know what, in January, you go and sign a world-class centre-back and a top-class striker, they could go on and challenge for the league at least. But you've just sort of said, you've just named the majority of their defenders aren't good enough. Their goalkeepers are not good enough. They only have one clinical attacker. That sounds like it isn't just a couple of players. That sounds like they need 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more players, which if it's true, then they can't have the second best squad in the league.
No. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, right? So for example, the way that Chelsea were linked to Garnacho, right? Let's say, what was the bid? It's supposed to be 60 million or something like that, right? 60 million can get you a top goalkeeper, right? You could have got Diogo Costa from Porto for 60 million, right? That fixes the goalkeeper issue. Center back, I think that you just need one really good center back. I'm not even saying that you need somebody that's world class. Chelsea just need a center back that's competent. They don't have a competent center back. I think Trevor Chalobah has done decent since coming back from Palace, but Levi Colwill is awful. And then Fofana can't stay fit, like I said. But if you look at their fullbacks, for example, right, you have I know that Malo Gusto is going through a rough patch his second season, but he's still a very good player, right? Kukurea, a few weeks ago, people were talking about him as being in the team of the season so far. And then if you look at their midfield, right, you have Caicedo, you have Enzo, you also have Cole Palmer in the 10. You
Lavia as well.
Lavia when he's fit. They have a very good team, right? We cannot act like it's not a good squad. I think a majority of people would take that squad to work with. But I just think that their board isn't actually thinking about this team as contenders. I think their board is looking at young players that they can buy now for a little bit cheaper, make good, and then sell for profit, because that's what the squad building looks like. So again, I don't think Maresca is the problem. I don't think that he's been backed properly, which sounds crazy because of how much money they spent, but he just came in. But I don't think that they've backed him in terms of, okay, we see that this team needs a center back, goalkeeper, and another striker. And they haven't given him any of that. So to me, that's the issue.
I think you're only half correct here. Should they have done a couple more signings? Yes, I agree. I think they should have had a second striker in already. They should have had another center back. They definitely need a goalkeeper sooner or later. So I don't disagree on that. But those are not the reasons they're performing the way they are. You just said that you think the squad is good enough, but then you don't want to give the manager blame or full criticism on this. When there's a couple players underperforming, I usually don't look at the manager. I'm like, you know what? What's wrong with you? Is there something going on with your personal life? Are you not fit? Are you injured? Is your mind on something? I don't know. But when there's too many players that are not performing to a level that we expect them to be performing at, then you start looking at the manager. It's so easy, especially that we saw how they started the season. They went on a 6-game winning streak where we all said, "Oh, are they going to be contending for the title this season? Are they title contenders?" The drop off that they had over the last 10 games is not just down to personnel. There's a couple games where I'm like, you know what? Today with a finisher, you win. Today with a goalkeeper that's not a bozo, you win. The majority, I'll be honest, the manager's just average. And a lot of people don't want to accept it. He's just a bang average manager. Proving that to me. I was like, you know what? Let me give him some time to see how good he is. Tactically, he's just a very naive manager. He doesn't have too many tricks up his sleeve. I've seen him, and I know what you guys are going to say. It's Pep Guardiola. But that City game told me a lot about Maresca. The way he got out-coached by Pep during one of his worst periods with this team when everyone was batting them left and right, just a simple trick where they just went long ball in the second half and he had no response for it. That is naivety. That is just naivety as a manager. When he got found out after the first those 6 games where he won, I just don't look at him and I'm like, he has a lot of ways to change up things in games. Like, I feel like Chelsea, if they start a game bad, they continue the game bad. Or if the game gets turned on them somewhere, but by halftime or whatever, he usually doesn't have a response. Sometimes these games end up being chess games. You start the game well, a manager makes a tweak, and that's up to you to respond. I don't see a lot of that of Maresca. I just think he's technically very naive. He doesn't know how to coach multiple ways. And that's what I'm saying. When you see too many players underperforming, you start looking at the manager. Cole Palmer's not playing well right now. Sancho's not playing well right now. Cucurella's dropped off a little bit. Too many players are dropped off. And I'm not going to lie, you bring in a striker right now, you're not going to all of a sudden start winning all these games again. Or you bring in another center back and all of a sudden you're going to win some of these games again. The Pumas just haven't been good enough. And I'll be honest, when you look at it, you can kind of see right now what Leicester fans were talking about last season. When they were saying he drops off in the end of the season and they went I forgot how much they were leading by and they almost got caught up towards the end of the season. It's because he doesn't know how to switch it up. And I'm not really going to sit here and talk into details. I'm like, oh, all right, invert a fullback or do this with a midfield. I'm not going to get to that. I'm just saying his tactical flexibility, I haven't seen it. And there's too many managers that I've seen in the league that could do that.
But then what is he meant to do when the goalkeeper is a bozo, when Levi Colwill is making these mistakes, and when Nicholas Jackson is missing good goal-scoring opportunities? I mean, it's only but so much that the manager can actually do because he's only just on the touchline. He doesn't actually
but that's what I'm saying. What is he doing tactically to get Cole Palmer back in form? I don't see anything. You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest, I have a sample size to compare it to last season. When Poch in the second half of the season had this Chelsea team, I know they finished 6th, but in the second half of the season, he technically finished 3rd. So if you look at his form towards the end of the season, he got this Chelsea team perform as the 3rd best team in the league. And they sacked him, and I felt like they made a parallel move. Now that I'm looking at it, obviously at the time I didn't know him because I didn't know Maresca like that. But now that I'm looking at it, I just felt like they made a parallel move because you look at Maresca right now, he is regressing with this team, and this team is regressing right now. So everything you said aside with the signings and all that, I don't really disagree with you. But at the end of the day, you do need to do coaching on the pitch, and he was coaching this team well. So I already seen you get more out of these players. Now that you're getting found out tactically, you're not able to switch a few things up, and you're not getting the best out of your best players. So I have to judge you by that.
Yeah, I think where this could become a little precarious for Chelsea is if they sack him. That's 4 years worth of contracts got to be paid off. And if they don't make that they need that Champions League money. They'll still be able to buy people, but you're then suddenly getting to a point where, hang on a minute, some of the big players we signed, we're going to need to replace. We're not going to get our money back on them, and we've still got to pay them off over the next 6 years. And you've got to go and spend more money, and the income hasn't grown massively. Like Chelsea, if you actually look at Chelsea's revenue, I don't think there's been a huge growth. There's been a little bit of gaslighting towards Chelsea fans. Oh, we've got a new shirt sleeve sponsor that's coming in for, I don't know, I'm making the number up here because I haven't looked at it for a few weeks, but 20 million a year. Well, it's replacing the last one that was 19 million a year. It's not, you're not growing the revenue per se. It's just replacing stuff. And I think Arsenal might have overtaken them in revenue on the last sort of quarterly reports that came out. Spurs have definitely overtaken them in terms of revenue, which is interesting. So they need that Champions League football bad. Like watching Chelsea over the next few weeks is going to be very interesting because look, I think they need a few more players than I initially thought maybe in December they needed. And the pressure has shown me that. So you learn things as you go along. And I think it's important as content creators. I don't like the word influencer, but content creators, when you're talking about things and giving your opinion, you address things that you've said that you now think are no longer right, but you explain why. And I actually think what I've seen when the pressure is on, for instance, Sancho looks like the pressure's on. The title race talk was there. Okay, the bad form's there. Can you help lift us through it? So far, he hasn't been able to do that. Neto's done okay, but I'm not looking at Neto at Chelsea and seeing the Neto I saw at Wolves that I wanted. I'm just not. And he doesn't start a lot of the games either. Noni Madueke's in that same category. And you have to look at that. I think Chelsea fans have to look at that and be honest. Yes, you might like the player technically. The ability might be there technically. But can that player deliver in adverse moments when the team is struggling? If you ever want to become a Chelsea that can win the Premier League again, if you ever want to become a Chelsea that will consistently challenge for the Champions League, and I don't mean have a very good year and win it, I mean consistently challenge for the Champions League, you're going to need players like that. And I think as football fans, Chelsea supporters fall in that category. Spurs are definitely there. United are in it. And Arsenal have been in it for a while. We become so attached to the talented players that arrive at our club. I think we lose objectivity. We lose the ability to go, do you know what? Martial at Man United was a great example. When he was on form, when there was very few players challenging him for his position, he was amazing. As soon as the pressure got on top, form would dip, injuries would come in. He wouldn't be happy at the club when a new striker came in to challenge him. And it was always this conversation I had with United fans for years.
I really hate when you make that example.
Well, because you know it's true and it hurts.
No,
it's so
it's really not. Me and you had that debate before. I don't want to go there again.
But it is true, and I stand, but I really do believe it. I think that there are some players
stripped him off his number at 19 years old after scoring 14 goals in his debut season.
Okay.
And you're saying, but he didn't have competition.
Hang on a minute. But what happened?
And they sacked the manager that signed him. Trust me, we'll be here all day.
Hang on. No, but hang on. They sacked the manager that signed him. I understand that. But these are the things. At 19 years of age, I can understand it. But he had the same adverse reaction a couple of years later when Lukaku came in, then when Cavani came in. If you look at the seasons where we didn't have what we'd call a good quality number 9, and he was playing more or he was starting, it was different. As soon as more competition came in, he didn't handle it as well. And that's not a dig at him as an individual. I loved him as a player. I love that he's doing well now in Greece. But when we have to be honest and objective as Matt, and this is the point I'm making, I'm not making a subjective view. I'm talking about it objectively. We need players that can ride through that and it doesn't bother them. I'll give you an example about numbers being stripped. David Beckham was told at the end or just the beginning of the summer after, I don't know which year it was, but I think it was the 96-97 season. And he was told by Fergie, we're signing Sheringham. He's the Cantona replacement. And Beckham's like, okay, great. Like, thanks for telling me. And he was told, but we're giving him your number 10 shirt. He wants the number 10 shirt. And Beckham was gutted. He said, but it's my shirt. No, Sheringham's getting it. The whole summer and the beginning of preseason training that year, Beckham was told, like, you've lost your number 10 shirt. Got his head down, carried on working hard, striving to stay and maintain his position as a Man United winger. Fergie comes up to him and says, I need to have a chat with you. He pulls him into his office, sits him down. How you feeling? And these were the words from Beckham that I loved. He went, I was gutted and really upset my number 10 was taken away. But I could never let Fergie know I was upset by one of his decisions. What you had to do was keep working hard, keep striving, and proving you're the best you can be. So I told him I was feeling great, really looking forward to the season and working hard. He went, brilliant. He goes, I've noticed that. There is the famous number 7 shirt that he was given. And that isn't me having a pop Martial individually. It's saying that's the type of players that made Man United champions of England, who their number got taken away. They might be upset, but it made them work harder and become better football players. Not, oh, fuck this. And that's all clubs. You need a player. Oh, you know what? You've been dropped for a few games. What you need is we have fans now that'll go, you're dropping my favorite player. Bruv, he should down tools. No, you should, when you get the chance to come back in, play even harder. We need to push for the right behaviors from players. I'm talking professional behaviors. I don't care about the clothes these players wear, the haircuts they've got, the girls they're shagging, the cars they're driving, the boats they're buying. Couldn't give a shit. Fair play. I wish I had that money. When I was 21, I wore a fucking Alice band. So I don't have a pop at any young man's dress sense. But I'm talking about we need players at our clubs who can work through adversity. Their ability is important. But if their ability shrinks when a problem arises, I just think if you have too many players like that, Rashford, Martial as an example falls into that category. We've had loads like it who just shrink, absolutely shrink. It's why so many players leave Man United and look better after they go. They can't handle the pressure for one reason or another. So I look at a lot of these Chelsea players right now, and I think there's a few that when it comes to, it's okay when you're at a Brighton. It's okay when you're at a club at that size. You're now at Chelsea, you're at a giant club. The pressure's different and the expectation for consistency is different. And I think some really struggle with that. I really do.
Do you think there's an argument that Chelsea shouldn't have loaned out Felix because offensively they're poor at the minute? And I mean, I know you're shaking your head, Staffy, but he is a player that can make a difference in a tight game.
Can he really?
Yeah.
I mean, if you tell me they have kept him and moved on in Nkunku, maybe, probably, but it's still not good enough. I didn't understand the same profile
of like what they kind of have already.
Exactly, they're very similar. Yeah, maybe Felix could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, like Felix is very similar to like a Sancho, for example. Like he's not going to be clinical in the final third. He's more of a creator. It's kind of how I view it.
I said he's an OnlyFans model. I'll be honest.
I mean, wait.
I swear to God, bro. He's an OnlyFans model. Okay, you know how rappers just pass on, models to each other all the time? Okay. Look at him, bro. He got passed on from Madrid to London to Barca to Milan. The guy's, bro, is getting flown out everywhere.
I thought you were talking about the fact that his girlfriend also has a relationship with Pedro Porro for a second. Then I was like,
I'm not even getting into that. I'm just comparing him metaphorically in football to what he is. He just gets
He's a good player, though.
He's just a pretty player. That's who he is.
Nah,
he's a pretty player. He's gonna give you a couple nutmegs, and that's it. Makes no impact, bro. The guy's been a one to watch for how many years now? Young talent for how many years now? He's no longer young, bro. He's gonna be back in Chelsea after his loan. Then he's gonna get a really nice trip. You might be next, Will. You might guys take him in Madrid next. He's going everywhere. He's gonna be flown out everywhere, bro. All the rappers are calling each other, yo, a hit. It was good. Your turn next. That's what they're doing.
But the issue with João Felix is that he just makes wrong career decisions. Like he just doesn't know when to pick the right club, right?
Which one exactly? There's so many wrong decisions.
No, but okay, but the thing, right? So like going from Benfica to Atleti, right? And you're playing that terroristic football when you're a player that should be playing in a free-flowing team, wrong decision, right? I think like him going to Chelsea, wrong decision. Like you see all the players that Chelsea have already in the position that you play, and you still chose to go there. And then now you're loaned out a few months later. And I know that he was there a few seasons ago on loan, but I just feel like he just makes the wrong choices. I think Barcelona, they would have kept him, but Atleti wanted too much money. Barca are broke. They can't afford 60 million right now. Atleti weren't going to sell him for cheap just to let Barcelona get a player because he played well for them. So
he wasn't even tearing it up because when he went to Barca, he was outplayed by Aubameyang and
hold on, wait. First half of the season when he was at Barca, he was playing really well. And then I think he had a falling out with Xavi and then he was dropped. But the first half, like when he first got to Barcelona, like the first 5 months, he was actually playing pretty well on that left wing. He was.
He came out today and said that never say never. He might stay in Milan next year.
My view is this. Listen, João Felix is a player I was, again, excited about as a talent when he was younger. I feel the debate's done now. I feel that he's just a bang average elite level football player. And that's going to wind people up. because not based on ability, on ability, he's a top level footballer. But we don't judge players. No real football fan judges people on footballing ability alone. You have to look at the application, the delivery, the consistency, the availability, how you handle adversity, what you do in big games, in semi-finals, in finals, in title races. And some of that isn't about your ability or not your technical ability as a football player. And João Felix, I just put him, he's a top level player. He's in the elite level. He's in the elite level of the game. He'll play in one of the top leagues in Europe, but he's middle of the road in that sector. That's what he is. He's not a world-class player by any stretch of the imagination. And the fact that he is being passed around is proof. He is, to use Staffy's example, he's good for a fun time, but he's not wife material. It's as simple as that. That's the way clubs look at him. He's good for a party. He ain't wife material. And that's why sometimes we have to just look at the objective facts. No one really wants him. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? He's like a stray cat. Like no one wants him. You know, I mean, a few people putting a dish of food out at night. They don't want him in the house, though. So yeah, listen, it's. I don't mean it rudely, but it's just people have got.
Anyone would have taken him at Manchester United in the winter.
A couple years ago, I would have taken him.
No. I'm talking about last month.
No,
let's say
no, not now. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
He's a rental for 6 months. I would have took him just as a rental, yeah, but with no obligation, because I generally don't have anything right now. Like, if you're telling me, would you rather take him or nothing? I'll be like, all right, 6 months of him. I mean, I'll take my turn now. Everyone else had a turn, so I'll take my turn. But other than that, no.
I mean, a few years back, I saw his talent, and the talent is there, but talent and application are not the same thing at the end of the day. You know, you can, if you've got someone who's, you go into a barber, you're like, oh, look at all these wicked haircuts. Look at all these brilliant haircuts. I've done them befie. That's your ability says he can do them, but then he cuts your hair and it looks janky. You ain't going back. Simple as that. And that's in the reality. If he ain't living up to them pictures on the wall in the barbers. The lines ain't straight. The fade is bad. Clip my fucking ear. No, but I'm just glad the debate's over. And this happens to players. Like, it's like Rashford, okay? I really rate Rashford. I think he's an excellent player, okay? All things being, I think he's very good. If he goes to Villa, he looked very sharp yesterday. If he goes to Villa, looks good for a few weeks and then fades. And then he gets his move to Barca in the summer, still, looks good for 3 months and then fades. And then they want to move him on. I will objectively hold my hands up and say I was wrong about Rashford. Because the proof's in the pudding at the end of the day. And often you see this with slightly younger players. He's a baller. No, he's rubbish. Oh, he's leaving now. Where's he going to go? Oh, he's gone to Olympiacos. Well, if you said he was amazing, you've lost the debate. In my opinion, the debate's over. Because otherwise, a really good club would have come and bought him. They haven't. There's going to some of these super chats here. We've got loads. I didn't even realize we had so many and some comments to go through. How about those Eagles? Fly, Eagles, fly. Yeah, listen. I was a little sad with the late touchdown.
Will about that. That's Will.
I don't have nothing to say.
Will, can I ask you a question? If I know they scored a late consolation try or two, if that was a Champions League final, that was like playing Real Madrid, like one of the best teams around. Who is that the equivalent of beating them, and what would the scoreline be for anyone who doesn't understand how much of a beatdown that was?
Oh, okay. You know what? We can even do it like this. That's like if Liverpool beat Real Madrid, let's say 4-5-1. 4-5-1 in Champions League final. Yeah,
but you'd put Philly at the same legacy level as Liverpool.
No. Yeah, so Philly would be Liverpool because Philly are the better team, but the Chiefs would be like the Real Madrid because of the heritage and what they've done.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's
it was a beatdown. It wasn't. Yeah. I mean, we were watching it. I was gutted when they scored. I was hoping for the shutout. I mean, it never happened in a bowl final. I don't think. All the commentators were saying that, and I was like, "Oh, come on now!" Yeah, it was great. It was a great day, and there we go.
Will's a Giants fan, so he's sick.
Yeah, of course, because a man like Barkley. Sancho should focus on his football, as it seems Chelsea are starting to see the Sancho that we got to see. Ever since he left Dortmund, he's just been mid, is what Sam Ritchie says here, Staffy.
No, I agree. I already said that.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we've been mid too. So I've seen a lot of people say that, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, we kind of are true here, but it's not like we really improved since we moved on all the shit players that we thought they were shit. So we kind of got to hold it up a little bit, But
it is true. It is true. It's about the hypocrisy of that comment. Free from what? I think, Marcy, it's about freedom to play. And there's one thing I'd say about the footballers I do agree with. Well, not agree with, but I understand and I empathize with. They get very frustrated when players can't play. They have very short careers. And I think that's what it's about. He says when he was always late for training, freedom from someone calling out your bad attitude. Hilarious. By the way, Chelsea want him out anyways. Well, a lot of Chelsea fans were calling for that. But Marcy, thank you for the super chat. Victimhood is always addictive. Case closed here. That is why I've always preferred players like Garnacho than players like Sancho. As always, prefer the players who run at defenders than players who just want to play it safe to keep possession. And that's fair. I think you've got to get the balance right as a player, but that's a preference. And we're all allowed. I know that the world says you're not sometimes. We're kind of over that phase in society where you weren't allowed to have it. Do you remember when you weren't allowed to have a preference or you were a bigot? Do you remember when that was a thing for a while? It's crazy debates they were. I never understood them. We see the problem. Maresca knows what the problem is. The sporting directors aren't addressing them. His only problem are trusting Sanchez too long and some subs. Jiggy, I hear that. My one, it's not a challenge. My observation, and I love an answer on this, is to all the Chelsea fans who are fully behind the project, fully behind the owners, fully behind the board, who when you were in the title race said never challenge them again. We know what we're talking about here. I'd love to know what's changed and why the attitude has changed so much. And that may not be, Jiggy, from you personally, but that's the one question I have. This is from JJ. He says, Terry, why are you emphasizing on the domestic league and discarding the Champions League? You were doing that to feel better about your club not winning it for a while. You were just massaging your ego. Well, JJ, it's a good challenge, but it holds no water like a broken bucket. Because for me, I don't ever talk about another club and lack the same energy for my own, as far as I'm aware. Now, if there's some hypocrisy that can be pulled out and you can put up example A versus example B and show me, I'll look to change. And if you get me on that and I go, bloody hell, yeah, I have done that, I'll address it and change my approach. But we are talking about Chelsea in isolation. And you did win a Champions League, and that campaign was amazing. But a couple of campaigns before it and a couple of campaigns after it, and the fact you're not in it anymore is an indication of the level that you're truly been at a club over this last decade. And it is nowhere near the previous decade, and it is nowhere near the first decade under Roman Abramovich. You are not and haven't been a consistent threat in the Champions League. That's why when I mentioned it when I was talking, I said you did win it, but you're not a consistent threat. Chelsea are not back to their peak level until they're winning those trophies and consistently competing for them and a threat in them. Chelsea won that. So if you get where I'm coming from, and you won that Champions League and you got massive congratulations, and you have made some mistakes since. I think with hindsight, we now know that getting rid of Tuchel, not backing what he was doing, is probably a mistake. You know, most people would agree it was a mistake, and you should have stuck with him. You should have carried on adding to his squad and let him keep going and going and going, because, you know, he nearly won you those domestic trophies. You just needed some slightly better players. But the reason why I mention it is because also your league form, I think, is your ultimate barometer for how good or bad you are. Man United, we won 2 domestic trophies in the last 2 years. I love it, and I praised it, and I celebrated it. But I'm not satisfied. My thirst is not quenched. So I hope that makes sense, JJ. Thank you. 4th in the Premier League, despite all these issues. No panic is what Ronan says here. Ronan's a very positive Chelsea fan who actually thinks they're on course to get to where they need to over the next couple of years. That's for someone to respond to. That's why I left.
Yeah, I think Staffy.
I was on mute. I was talking on mute.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Now I was gonna say you should be a little bit worried, 100%, because if I'm not mistaken, right, like who's around Chelsea right now for 4th, right? I know that Man City,
Newcastle, Bournemouth.
Yeah. I think to say that you're not panicked, I feel like you're
I think they should
very
panic because
optimistic.
I think they should have been in a top 4 race to begin with. So they are where they're supposed to be. I think the only panic is, as I said earlier, is that they started very, very, very well, and they've just been going like this since. Couple wins in the middle, but they've been on a downwards trajectory in terms of performances, at least for a few games now.
Yeah, because you're only 2 points above Man City, 2 points above Newcastle, and only 3 above Bournemouth. And then Villa are hanging around. We'll see how it goes. But I definitely think as a Chelsea stockholder, I'm thinking about cashing in. I'm not gonna lie. Like the price has been decreasing a little bit. So
I thought of that. I swear to God, I don't know why. I was like, I wonder if Will just is still gonna keep saying, "Oh, I told you guys that Chelsea's gonna be the next team up after City." Because remember, you was flexing on this a couple months ago.
Yeah. No.
Hey, look, good for you.
Like once I saw the Garnacho links in January, I was like, "Whoa." I was like, you know what? Like maybe it's time to get out. But nah, I still believe that Chelsea are a very good team. But they've definitely they let me down a little bit. But
yeah. Ronan here actually comes back here and says youngest team in the league in 4th, despite injuries and some bad form through 24 matches. Sack the first year manager. What the fuck? This is ridiculous.
So
Is it ridiculous?
Go on, Staffy. I was gonna say respectfully, I didn't say sack him because of the results. I said I don't think he's a good manager. Like I just could look at the football and just say, like, I don't think he's a good manager. Tactically, I don't think he's good. But Ronan, I mean, as I said, respectfully, if we're gonna sit here and talk about injuries, really the only reason Chelsea are in 4th right now is because City have just been ran through in terms of injuries this season, and they didn't have a great summer. So you can also make that excuse for them. So when we say and we talk about injuries, we could use that for everyone. The majority of your team has been here anyways. Like, what injuries are we talking about? Like Reece James, who else has been injured from their team? They've pretty much had Cole Palmer for large majority of the season. I know he didn't start the season because I think he had COVID or whatever, but he didn't start the season. But other than that, he's been here. Sancho's been here. Jackson has been here. Okay, Lavia, and I think he's a big miss for them because I think he's the glue to their midfield.
It's still unacceptable. Like it's the team he put out against Newcastle, which they got knocked out of the League Cup, was disastrous. He left Palmer, Jackson, Caicedo, Lavia. None of them were in the 11. Then to get knocked out of the FA Cup by Brighton, when horrendous.
They lost 7-4 the game before.
Sorry,
think of that. That team lost to Forest 7-0.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely destroyed.
And you barely laid a glove on them. I swear they had like one shot on target from the goal that they have or something like that.
Nah, like that Palmer goal was super lucky because I think he tried to cross that in. I don't even think he really tried to shoot that.
They had one shot in the whole game. But yeah, and look, Maresca deserves his criticism. But where I do get where Ronan's coming from is that I do think. Oh, hang on a second here. Oh, it's Crystal Palace will play Millwall. The draw's just on here. Man United are number 1.
Nice little London derby.
Let's keep these out here. So, number 1, Man United are at home. Who are we going to get here? And that is against Fulham. Man United versus Fulham at home. Tough game. Still a tough game. Let's see the rest of this draw here. So number 9 is Newcastle United at home. Please be number 14. Be City or Bournemouth. I want a good team to go out. Number 3, they got Brighton versus New. Do you know what? I like that because if Man United stay in, those teams are bogeys for us. At least one of our bogey teams goes out.
There's about 70% of the teams are
number 11. So Bournemouth at home. Go on, get City. Get City away. Go on, City. Be City. It's Wolves. I got Wolves. Fuck you. City are going to get Plymouth, aren't they? City are going to get fucking Plymouth. That'd be good for Plymouth, though.
Away.
Number 4, City are at home, and it's going to be number 10. In fairness, teams like Plymouth will deserve that, as in what they did. Yep, they got Plymouth at home. City, you lucky bastards. You lucky fuckers. You little fuckers. Aston Villa got Cardiff, you know. That's a good one for them.
That it will be dagger at Old Trafford, bro. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'd have preferred to have been away.
When you said we were home, I was like, shit, we lost already.
There we go. Well, that draw is done. We avoided City. It's open. The FA Cup, though, just moving on slightly, we're going back to Super Chats. The FA Cup really open this year, isn't it? It feels like because Liverpool are out and they're the best team in England, Arsenal are already out. We know they're a good team and they've won the FA Cup many times before. It feels like anyone that's left in it can almost win it now. Out of the sort of the top, like Bournemouth could win this, Newcastle could win it, Villa could win it, United could, City could. It feels really open. I don't know about what you think, Kate. It feels quite open.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Newcastle do a double this year. I think they're well capable of winning the Carabao Cup. And they've got Brighton, who I would expect them to beat at St James's Park. And yeah, I expect them to go a long way. So if I was going to have a cheeky little bet, I would have them to do a domestic double because, Villa, they're another sort of team that could win it as well. But yeah, it is. It's typical Spurs, really, because it's wide open and we're knocked out of another cup. I think we actually are allergic to silver. We're like werewolves down at the Spurs Stadium. You put any silver near us and that's it. We shrivel up. So... I agree. It makes it kind of exciting when it's like this. I think Man United get beat by Fulham, if I'm honest. Sorry, but I do. But I do. I think if smart money, I think goes on Newcastle to get the double because Isak is just playing out of his boots as well. As long as they can keep him fit, he's sensational.
Yeah, those 6 round draws will be key, and who people get because if you're actually someone like a Bournemouth, an Aston Villa, a Brighton, you almost want to get Newcastle. And hear me out on this. It'll almost be better for them to get someone like a Newcastle away at home in the 6th round than it would be at Wembley or in the final. So at least then you've got your home crowd, familiar surroundings to kind of help you. But yeah, City's run, by the way. So they've had Salford followed by Orient, followed by Plymouth. Crazy. Yes,
it would have been justice for us to have won against Liverpool because we knocked out Man United and Man City in the Carabao Cup. And then Liverpool was just that bridge too far.
Yeah, I hear you.
Winning trophies, Kate. You gotta. I know you guys are not familiar with how it works.
But I'm all right with the Fulham game. Fulham can definitely knock us out, but I'm pretty relaxed with that. It is what it is,
They've been giving us trouble. I swear they beat us last year at home.
They probably did.
Iwobi. I remember Iwobi scored like a late goal.
Yeah, but it's weird because we've beaten them 5 times on the bounce. That's why we've beaten them 5 times on the bounce at their ground. So I'd have probably preferred to have had them away, to be honest. But
it's all right. You'll probably win for an offside goal anyway.
Did we forget that we beat them 2 weeks ago in one of the worst games I've ever seen in football? It was the lowest accumulated XG in the Premier League in 2 years in that game. It was a snooze fest. I almost pulled up my pillow and my blanket while I'm doing the watch along. That's how boring it was.
At least you're in the FA Cup.
Yeah, stop moaning.
Yeah. Let's go to some more of these super chats. Then I want to move on to Tottenham. We're trying to get through these super chats. There's so many, but thank you. You're also so generous. Staffy, you literally compared them to the most dominant team in the past 3 years. Come on, bro. They lost both centre halves and the captain.
I didn't compare them to City. I said that you can make that argument that City are not in the top 4 because of that. But let's be honest, this City team this season has nothing to do with the dominant ones. This is a shell of what they used to be. Everyone will tell you that. Nubbin says that every day, and he's a City fan. He always tells you this has nothing to do with the team that won the treble 2 years ago.
Yeah, but Nobbins was calling it out last season. He could see these things coming, to be fair. Lost 3 back-to-back FA Cup finals, lost 3 League Cup finals, been miles off the league. Winning mentality is going to take a while to get back. And I agree, Gavin, you have been to those finals, but I think the volume of finals you've lost is also as a question mark there, because I'm not comparing Spurs and Chelsea here. I wouldn't do that to Chelsea. But we talk about their lack of ability to win semis and to win finals. So if your team suddenly has, Man United lost the FA Cup final in 2023. It came to one in 2024, and I just felt, I think we'll win this one. It's the same team a year later. I just don't see us losing 2 on the bounce, and we didn't. And I think that's something Chelsea have got to learn to get over, because your fans become, and fans are a big part of this. The fans become anxious. The fans have never, you start to, it's going to go wrong again. The energy that you push out is negative, and it's all encompassing, I think.
To be fair, 5 of those 6 finals were against Liverpool. So They just had a bogey team.
Yeah, but that's a good point. That's a good point. At the same time, Klopp's success in finals up until he started playing Chelsea in finals weren't particularly great at Liverpool, to be fair. Fans always challenge the sporting directors. We knew we needed reinforcements before the January window. Nothing was done, and the squad has now been weakened. Yes, I agree with you, Jiggy, on that. Felix is just the football version of Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips. Does everyone know who they are in America, Will?
Yeah.
The big...
Of course he does. He's got Twitter.
Yeah.
Be fair, I don't know, but I'm a halal boy. So
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Henry knows.
I heard the name Bonnie Blue. If you put a picture, I really wouldn't be able to.
Henry knows. Henry's on the hub, bruv. Henry's on the hub. Do you know what I mean? He knows exactly who they are.
I'm trying to be one of those 1,000.
I'm assuming they're models. I'm assuming.
How many is it you've got?
Yeah, they're models, bro. Yes.
Henry,
well, that's the only term I could use on YouTube. I'm not going to use the corn one. But.
Henry, is it 4 or 5 subscriptions that you now have on OF? How many people do you subscribe to? Is it 4 or 5?
35. Cost me about £1,000 a month.
It's one of them, the girl that slept with 1,000 men or something.
It's one of them, or both.
Oh.
How involved?
I didn't know that.
I think like 24 hours or something like that.
Yeah, 1,057 or something.
You earned £750,000 out of it. All of it.
I don't know what Fanny's like. Sorry, but she must have a proper bucket crutch now. I'm sorry, it's absolutely disgusting.
I feel bad.
You know what's
for her
crazy?
father.
I think about like The Last Man. Like your number 1,000.
Nah, The Last Man is crazy. The Last Man.
I'm just saying, like, think about it. Like, how do you find it in you?
Do you know what? Do you know what?
Anyway,
now that you talk, the one thing I mean, I just imagine the smell of the room when you walk in. You're number 1,000. It's just,
oh my God.
No, and I say that because, like, we've all been young, and like, you know, you've gone on a lad's holiday, and your mates had a lady back for the night, and the next morning she's left and said goodbye, and you walk in and go, mate, do you want something to eat? No, fuck me, this room smells. But 1,000 people, oh my days, it's putrid. It's putrid. It really is. In the last 5 seasons, Chelsea spent the most money on transfers, nearly double the second team City, and they still need more new players. What are they actually doing? And look, that's a challenge that a lot of Chelsea fans now throw out at their owners as well. Please hook me up with your Turkey contact, Terry. Mine was actually down in Harley Street, but I've got a contact coming for you soon on that, people. Keep your eyes peeled. Big Ange, Kate. Should he be sacked? Will he be sacked? Why is he still here? Another defeat. I think it's 21 defeats in your last 46 games. Another poor performance out of both cup competitions in the space of a week. Talk to me, Kate.
Can we go back to talking about women that sleep with 1,057 men, please? Because I'd much rather talk about that. I'm not sure how Ange is still in a job.
She got worked less than your Spurs team over the last few
years. I think so. Not only, I don't know how Ange is in a job, but he can sit there in his interview and say that he couldn't be any prouder, that he can't take any blame, can't put any blame on the senior players because they've done everything they can. It's not just the fact that we went out 2 cups in the space of 4 days. It's the way we went out. There was no fight, no passion, nothing really. It was absolutely outrageously bad. I don't know if Levy's had a bang on the head because managers have been sacked for less. But I just don't see this guy going anywhere till the end of the season. I think he's going to keep him. And for me, you know, we're in the Europa League. I think personally, sacking him and getting someone else in gives us a better chance of progressing in that cup. But it looks like they're going to stick with him, and I don't know why. I'm sick to death of seeing his face, if you want to know the truth. I'm sick to death of watching boring football that was meant to be attacking football, but all that happens is we just get bombarded for 90 minutes, really, and try and hang on. And, yeah, I just think this guy, I like him. I wanted him to work, but he's clearly out of his depths, and I'll just say put him out of his misery and put me out of my misery, because it's the first time yesterday we scored and me and Jimbo didn't even move. We didn't cheer. And the game against Liverpool, Jimbo took the dog out just after half time. It's just so awful to watch us. You know, it was only 5-6 years ago, 6 years, I think, that we were in a Champions League final, and we're just a shadow of that team. And I don't know what to say. I wish I could just not support them anymore, if you want to know the truth, but you can't, unfortunately. So, but no, I just don't see him going anywhere at the minute. I don't know what you think, Henry, but I thought this morning I'd wake up and he might have been gone, but nope.
Mm. Well, we're the North London Bonnie Blue, aren't we? We're getting run through by bloody everyone. But when I saw the lineup for yesterday's game, I expected to see a response from that disastrous performance Wednesday night. And I don't understand why Gray doesn't go into the midfield position. I don't get why Bentancur's starting. Right, we've got a centre-back on the bench. You could have played Davis and Danso and then put Gray in over Bentancur, because Gray and Bergvall are the only players at the moment that are coming off of the pitch with their head held high. And it's another competition we've been dumped out of. And the narrative from a lot of our fans was give him the cups. Well, that's now finished. How is he? I have never seen this under Daniel Levy. Our manager, we're 15th in the league, only a handful of points off the relegation battle out of both cups. And now I'm seeing fans come out today saying, just give him the Europa League. So if when the inevitable happens and we get dumped out of that and we're sitting 14th and 15th in the league, because Europe's not going to come around. We're not going to be in Europe next season. And Romero's checked out 1,000,000%. I don't think he'll ever play for Spurs again. The narrative that he was supposed to be back early January. They just keep moving this injury along further and closer to the transfer window. I'm not saying he's going to go Real Madrid, but they need a centre-back. When he plays for Argentina, he performs. When he plays for us, he's not the same player. And look, Man United at the weekend, that will probably be the first game in a long, long time I won't watch.
Don't worry about it. Don't
same
worry,
as
Is that because Arsenal were on at the same time?
Sorry?
Is that because Arsenal were on at the same time?
Yeah, well, they actually played on Saturday, but yeah.
So watch if he's going to do a match reaction, Terry. Come on. Don't ask him that.
When I was doing my video yesterday, I couldn't wait for my video to end. I was sitting there going, it's absolutely disastrous watching us. An attacking team that scored 1 goal in 2 games, and our fans going, do you know what Tell's fully coys? Let's be honest. Whoever's advised Matthias Tell to come to Spurs is off their head.
He's fully what?
Coys.
Don't.
He's fully coys.
Come on,
that sounds like he's got a sexually transmitted illness.
That's what coys is.
He's full of coys, mate. He's got coys. He's riddled with coys. Riddled with it.
It adds insult to injury when 2 days ago the club have announced another 5 concerts for Beyonce.
And Kendrick Lamar.
You're getting Kendrick
Lamar. Oh, that's convenient. Let's drop that after the day of the Super Bowl. Great for the PR team when the football team is
get ready to scream minor. Don't worry about that. You'll be
honestly, it's an absolute disgrace.
Nothing
is changing.
Don't even win minor trophies, let alone major ones.
I would have happily. Henry, do you think that maybe he's not been sacked because Levy knows that maybe his job is on the line as well?
His job's never going to be on the line.
No, but I think
how else then do you justify?
Well, he just got a £500,000 pay rise 18 months ago. He's actually, I looked at it earlier. He's actually paid more than Florentino Perez.
What's his job again? Is he the president?
Well, chairman, but he is going to eventually probably buy out Lewis.
Wait, so are your owners American?
No.
No? Okay, thank God.
No, but Joe Lewis isn't allowed in the UK for tax reasons because he was invited by the Court of New York. So we're owned by ENIC, which is the English National Insurance Company, which is an investment firm, which Daniel Levy owns 33% of the club. And then...
Wait, Levy owns 33% of the... Wait, so he's a minority owner?
So technically, Joe Lewis's family owns 60%. Levy owns 33%, and the other 7% is by investors.
So then you can't sack this guy then. He would have to agree to like a buyout.
He's doing his job because all he's doing is bringing all these different revenue streams in.
I heard today Simon Jordan said that Spurs are the best run club in the world.
That's a fucking disgrace. How can you say that? We haven't won an FA Cup
in financial point of view.
Years.
Yeah, it's a financial lens.
Yeah, I say it has to be from like a financial POV. But I was somebody, Henry.
We're not flipping Walmart. We're a football team. This is
Walmart is a shit example because I don't even go to Walmart, and Walmart's done the shit.
We're not Target.
But, you know who you are, and Will was gonna get this reference. I told him this on Shape Facts. I said these guys are the Clippers. They're in LA. They're in a major city. They have a really wealthy owner. They have the best stadium in the NBA right now, the new
stadium.
arena, and they're absolutely getting
At
dogged
least
by
they've
the
got
Lakers. all
Kawhi
the time.
Leonard. Who have we
No.
got? We haven't got
That is
anyone.
a fair argument. I mean,
That's a good argument. That's a and wait, look. But Kawhi is washed just like Son. So I mean, it's kind of like the parallels.
technically
are
they
good.
had
Stripped of
their
captaincy.
Kawhi and Kane, and he left them. But
Yeah,
I'm saying it in terms of you're very well ran. You're respected in terms of like your facility. You have good money. You have like, bro, like the reason I'm calling you the Clippers is that they just hosted the Monday Night Raw debut on Netflix.
Yeah,
You're hosting all these events and boxing and concerts. So there is a very good resemblance when it comes to that. But in terms of respecting the sport, like no one respects the Clippers in basketball because everyone knows you go to LA, you go to the Lakers. That's heritage when it comes to basketball. You go to London, there's way too many clubs that have heritage over you guys. And this is why you guys are well run in terms of finances, but on the pitch, I keep saying this, and this is why I'm actually tired of talking about this all the time. We just keep going in circles and circles and circles, and these standards were never at your club. Maybe back in the day, like I'm not old enough to live through these days, but I'll sit here and I'll listen to other Spurs fans. I'll listen to Kate tell me, or like Jim or whoever. But what we've seen over the last few years, you just haven't been a successful club on the pitch, and you're just doing all the success off the pitch. I'd love to be you guys financially because my club is broke, but you'd love to be me in terms of football because even in my shit years, I'm still winning FA Cups and League Cups. And that's the reality that we're at. Spurs right now, I mean, just to bring it back to Ange real quick, I was a big supporter of Ange over on the terrace for the last, year and a half, a little bit more than that. And I've called out all the good things he's done, and I criticize him for some of the bad things he's done. It's not even a matter of that he's not tactically flexible right now, and he goes with a high line, and he doesn't like to defend, and he exposes center backs. We're way beyond that. Right now, I just look at Ange. Ange is just a broken man. I don't think he even has confidence in what he does anymore, and he's reaching a point where you guys are not even trying to defend. You don't attack the same way you used to, and you don't even defend well. It's just like it's a mix of. I think the players they're giving up. They don't trust the tactics that they're doing. And at this point, they're just scared. Like you do play like a scared team. Against Aston Villa, you look like a scared team. They're better than you, don't get me wrong. And I thought they would win. You just look scared. And I don't think Ange is going to fix that. I don't think Ange even knows the solution anymore. I think he just sits there and he's like, I've given up. He's not going to say it, but in his head, he's like, I've given up. I don't know what to do with these players anymore. Injuries or not, we're just not a good football team. And upstairs, they never wanted to back me properly in the summer and in January. So what do I do now? I feel like he knows he's a dead man walking, and he's just living day by day until like someone puts him out of his misery. I really believe that.
We're at a crossroads in the club because we have tried the win now managers with Conte and Mourinho, never given them like good enough tools to do the job. We tried to bring in a manager and go down this process route, which we still haven't given him good enough tools to do the job, even with some of his decisions of how you can take Mikey Moore off for Bissouma when he's the only one who created a chance. And like Son for me, he's got to be the one I'm looking at now going, why are you not grabbing the team by the scruff of the neck? And like, if he scores that chance, then it's game on. But I hate to drop. But I think Ange will still be here, even if we lose to Man United. Because if they bring Ryan Mason in again, like it's going to get worse. Like the Europa League isn't until March, so we've got 3.5, 4 weeks to try and get some form together to prepare for that. You know, James Maddison's fully fit. This calf injury is PR. Why is he not playing? Because he's had a falling out of Ange Postecoglou back in November, which is now starting to come out. Where's Romero? He's been apparently fit for a month. We saw training pictures mid-January. Why was Van der Ven rushed back from injury to play against Elfsborg, where they're, no offense to them, but they're plumbers from Sweden? He now missed out on Liverpool and Aston Villa. It's a culture problem with the football club. They as long as we are financially, like you said, financially secure, we're now the most self-sustainable football club in Europe. That is all they care about. So Levy's going to keep earning his money, keep getting pay rises. We'll have all these different revenue streams, but we're at a crossroads now because even if we go to Bournemouth and give him 25 million, 20 million for Iriola at Bournemouth, what happens if he gets the Conference League with them? He's not going to leave. Is Marco Silva going to leave Fulham? Probably not. So we either stick with Ange and just ride this out, and God knows where we end up, or we sack him, bring in Mason, try to repair something before the end of the season. But then last time we waited nearly 90 days for a manager. We can't go into pre-season 90 days without a manager. That is absolutely criminal. The only reason we got away with it last time was because there was a bloody Euros going on. So that kind of covered it up. And then we dropped today, Kendrick Lamar. Like, fuck me. What are we doing? 6 days ago, Beyonce's tour, right? Her second biggest tour, apparently, she's done throughout her career. Where is the most bloody concerts? You guessed it. Tottenham's ground. That's going to be another £1 million every single concert. Round and round, we go on the fucking fairy round. Bring a new manager in. We'll all get giddy because he'll win a few games. Come to a transfer window. Won't back him. Everyone will be at each other's throats like bloody. It's like we are like EastEnders. It's constant drama. You got half our fan base hates each other, right? Fighting. You got there's a planned protest. So all of a sudden there's emails going out. There's going to be extra policing. What do you think we're going to do? Storm on the pitch and blow the ground up? Like. Even if we do a protest, you watch the queue.
Hang on, Henry. I know why there's more police. They've seen you kick that chair, and they don't want to take no chances, mate.
No, honestly, that's
what it is.
The queue for the merchandise will be longer than my future. The queue for the bar will be £8-9 a fucking pint, and it will be 20 people deep. How about go out to
expensive? It's not that expensive.
It's still pricey. Go out to the bricklayers and give the local establishments your hard-earned money, not this establishment that literally does not care about any fan. Do you know when you log on to purchase a ticket, you get a client's reference number? You're not fans, you're a client of the football club. If that doesn't tell you where we are ranked in priorities, I don't know what will. My friend just come back from the Madrid game, right? Did a tour of the Bernabeu. Absolutely loved it, right? The ticket for the Bernabeu is less than a ticket for Tottenham Man United for a Madrid derby. How can you justify that?
You can't.
Two teams that are Sorry, Kate. Two teams that are so bad right now, it'll probably be a draw. And both managers go, do you know what? That's just taking the pressure off us a little bit. My camera's froze. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
I don't think you can justify it, what I was going to say, but all the while people are prepared to pay it. It's like there's this protest been arranged for Sunday. And I've always said, if people want to protest, I take my hat off to them. I really do, if that's what they choose to do. And people choose not to buy merchandise and people choose not to spend money in the stadium. But for every one person that decides not to go into the stadium, there's 10 people waiting. I mean, we bought memberships and we're 237,000 to get a season ticket. Damn. There's so many people want to go to Spurs, and it's not normal fans. It's not like a working man's sport anymore. There's clients. One whole stand when I went was full of Korean fans purely there to see Son. It just, I don't see how you make, and you know what? I know what you're going to say, Terry, but I don't see how you make a billionaire leave if he don't want to leave.
Well, no, I hear that. And the thing is as well, like what you said there about Son and the fans, like it's not a bad thing to sign a player who brings players in. Where it becomes fans in, where it becomes a problem is like with Son when he's past his best and you need better than him now. But the club, it feels like they're hanging on to him because thousands and thousands and thousands of fans who love him and rightfully so will buy Spurs merchandise, will come to the ground, will buy his shirts and want to go to the games and will pay exorbitant. And we've seen with the Chelsea revelations last week, I wouldn't be surprised if clubs are making money on the side through, listen, guys, let's take 5,000, 10,000 tickets and stick them on a StubHub and we'll get a percentage of what's being. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's going on as well. And, you might get 1,000 South Koreans who go, I'm very happy to pay £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 a ticket, and the club takes a fee from it. The problem is with all those decisions, making money, and it's where I agree with Simon Jordan. You are a very well-run club financially, very well run. The problem is I don't think the end result and this is where I would love to sit in front of Simon Jordan and say, I get that you view it as someone who owned a club and you think you're doing a great job. But if you don't believe that their overarching belief is we're going to make the best team in the world because of this, then it's, for me, as a football fan, it's futile. Great. For you, it's a great business. You make loads of money. You'll be able to sell it for billions. But if the end result as a football fan isn't for these owners to try to make your team the best it possibly can be, and I think that's why Spurs fans are more angry now than ever. I think it's the stadium and the income and the money, but yet you're sitting where you always have done. Of course, your expectations rise when the money goes up.
I mean, first of all, if we'd have spent the money on investing in the squad rather than building that stadium, we'd be sitting in a different position now. And I truly believe that. I think Poch was the man to take us forward. And I think we was really close to doing something special then. And I can't remember what the second thing was. My brain's gone. Terry said something, it clicked in my brain. But, I know what someone said to me today, that the season ticket prices are going to come out soon. I think March, April time. And he said, I'd happily pay more. I'd pay 20% more if we've got trophies to show at the end of it. But we pay one of the highest season ticket prices in like anywhere, and we never win nothing. It's madness.
I feel like the guys that bought Newcastle should have bought Tottenham. I feel like, especially with the way that you guys are like self-sustaining as well. And then if you had an owner that was ambitious, that would maybe, pump a little bit more into it. I feel like Tottenham could be a team that does have, like, you have all the infrastructure. You just need somebody that actually wants to win. And clearly that's just not what the leadership is like at your club. And I see the issue is, right, and it's kind of like what Henry was saying when it was like, okay, well, Daniel Levy owns 33% of Tottenham. And I feel like, I forget where I was having this conversation, but I feel like that's the problem that you guys have in the Premier League, is that when things are not going right, if your owner is happy with how things are going, it doesn't matter how you as a fan feels, because nothing's going to change. Whereas, for example, with like a Real Madrid, where we have like socios who vote the president in. So if Florentino Perez, if we're failing on the pitch, he's out of a job. Whereas, let's say like at Tottenham or at like Manchester United, if the Glazers or if Daniel Levy, if they're happy with, okay, you guys are 15th, but look at all the revenue that you're making, nothing's going to change. And I feel like that must suck like for you guys, because it's like what Kate was saying. It's like, okay, well, if there is a protest, right? And let's say like 1,000 fans to decide to be out the stadium and they're, singing for the owners to get out. But then even though those 1,000 people didn't go in, you still have like 10,000 people who would gladly buy their ticket. And then the stadium still seems full, and it's like nothing is changing. So it's kind of like the only way that I think it actually gets better, and it's drastic, but like Levy would have to just want to sell the club, or Enoch, whatever it is. But it's crazy.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen,
no
bro.
pressure. Like there's no pressure just throughout your club to be successful in terms of on the pitch.
He's building the hotel just next to the ground. He's bought out some golf club nearby that he's turning into an NFL training ground. And look, like I said, I'm not slagging off anyone that chooses to protest. That's entirely their decision. But then a lot of them that are protesting are then going to the game and then having a sit-in afterwards where they sit and don't move, which I don't understand, because you've just shown Levy you're giving him your money. You've paid to go and watch a game. Do you see what I mean?
It's the dumbest thing. It's like, imagine going on strike at work to show them you need us. What are you doing at the strike? Well, we're going to strike, and then when we finish striking,
we're going to go to work.
We're going to work.
Yeah.
Your that same day, your employers would go, well, you crack on, and we'll see you at 10:30 then, rather than 9 o'clock. It's the most ridiculous thing you can do. I've said it before. And again, I'm not calling out any fan of any club, my own included, that do this. Unless you are prepared to sacrifice yourself, and this is what you'll always hear, but if I give up my ticket, somebody else will take it. But you've done your bit. You've done your bit. You are not feeding the thing that you think's a problem. And I'm only talking about the individuals who say, my owners only care about making money, but you care less about them making money out of you than you do going to the game. And for me, I just view it as, if you truly believe, like I did with the Glazers, they're only there to suck money out the club, that process of sucking money out the club is detrimental to it. I am not feeding what I think is detrimental to my club. And that's the only thing I would say. And look, it's always a challenge that meets. I mean, I've had death threats because of it. Oh, well, if I see you, I'm going to do this, do that. I just always think, wow. I mean, you want how much you really want the club fixed? I say most fans want it, but they wouldn't be. If would you be prepared to give up your season ticket to watch your team become the best in the world? If someone says no, that tells you we need to know about them. At the end of the day, if going to the game, and listen, I understand some people go, and one United fan reached out to me and he said, "Look, Terry, I don't care whether we win, lose, or draw. The whole day is the socialization of it, meeting my friends, what we do before and afterwards. That's what football is to me." I actually respect that, and I do understand it. So that's why I'm saying not every single case is the same, but I'm talking about the virtue signalers. I do anything for my club. These guys are leeches, and all they care about is making money. We've got to stand up. Well, why don't you do something tangible, like stop giving them your money? I can't do that, mate. Why? Well, I've got to go to the games, and I support the boys. No, like it's a weird one to me. I do agree, but it's a hard conversation to have because most people don't want to. And the guy that messaged me, and we had that conversation. We just sent each other voice notes over Twitter. I think it was. It might have been WhatsApp. I think it was Twitter. It was just an amicable conversation. We both saw each other's point of view. We both agreed. And I think within the Spurs community, if you guys could stop fighting and talk and find a resolution, because maybe you wouldn't have to boycott day. I've always said this about United. Maybe you wouldn't have to boycott day one. Maybe, first of all, it's just a threat of a boycott. Then maybe the first thing you boycott is a new shirt. No one buys a new shirt, which hits a certain sponsor. Maybe the next thing you do is we have an online campaign where we go and give 0 stars to all of our sponsors online. We get the 200,000 people on the waiting list to do it as an example. It's a lot of things. You target the sponsors. Maybe what you do on one occasion, we'll go to the game, but we'll do what Man United did, and we'll literally protest by the player hotel so they can't leave and the game gets called off. And you escalate, and you essentially say, if you don't put us up for sale, we'll keep doing more and more and more until one day we eventually boycott. You can build up to that. You don't have to give day one. You don't all have to cancel your season tickets, but have a conversation about what may work. What I know doesn't work is moaning about it on Twitter, moaning about it before a game, and then giving the leeches your money. That is not going to work. It's a guarantee. But there we go. Unless someone can show me an example where that has worked, I'll bow to your superior knowledge. Let's go to some super chats here. First one says, Kate and Henry, is Son really the problem in the squad? I don't think so. He is just a scapegoat. He is probably the best, if not the second best, your team. Look at what he is playing with and the players he plays with.
He's not the problem, but at the same time, you look at your senior players. Like I didn't just say him. I said Bentancur as well. There's a team of kids. Bergvall, Gray, Spencer's, Danso's played one game in this country. Mikey Moore, 17. You look at your senior players. I'll give you an example, right? And I'm not comparing Tottenham to Real Madrid. But when Luka Modric at 39 plays with young players, he leads by example. And that's what Son should be doing. And I'm not saying he's the single problem, but he's part of a problem. But it's more than that. Son's still going to be here when he's 35 because of the money side of things. And now we've signed the young player from Korea that literally no one's heard of, and apparently we've all done our homework on. Is it Hook Young or whatever his name is? Like, I'm not saying that we're signing him for the money side of things, but I've never heard anyone talk about his footballing ability.
Is he the one who's just got to QPR, that one?
Yeah, he's just been loaned out to apparently toughen himself up. It's just like the
young Min Hook.
Yeah, that's
we signed him from. He was part of the club planned it so perfectly because we signed him, and then 2 days later we played against the Korean All-Stars 11. So everyone on Spurs play could get him at a bird's eye view. Our marketing team is elite. Everything is to a T, but the football pitch is shambles. So yeah,
I hear you on that.
Henry, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Just accept it. You're a commercial club. Enjoy the nice merchandise and enjoy the nice stadium. And listen, get ready to crip walk at that Kendrick Lamar concert.
Like Serena last night, yeah.
By the way, I didn't. We and the boys were watching it. We were like, I don't know. That looks like Serena Williams. What was she doing as a backup dancer for Kendrick Lamar? I don't get it.
So basically,
Drake is her ex.
Drake.
Yeah. So Kendrick Lamar performed with like 2 women that Drake has had relations with. I guess that's like a dig at him or something.
He's literally ruined his career.
Isn't she?
No, he didn't.
So
he didn't.
Come on.
He was selling out Australia while this.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm confused. I still don't get the Serena Williams connection.
So Drake.
So that's Drake. So her and Drake used to
date.
Sure. Yeah. Basically, yeah, like they dated. And I guess there's and then Serena Williams is also from Compton, which is where Kendrick Lamar is from. They're from the same city, so.
And now Drake's finished. Like
Drake is not, bro. Do you know Henry, that Drake drops an album, I think on Friday, and everything goes back to being the same. Like like Drake's number one artist.
Yesterday he got the highest streams. Yesterday on.
Yeah, that's fine though. Like you can have the highest streams, but since the Take Care album, he's had a couple of good albums, and he's fallen off a cliff. Henry's prime right now, and just dropped the diss track. This is probably the second best, other than 2 Packs on Biggie's. Like that was elite. He has fallen off a cliff, and he's just literally said, "I'm not going to say the word that everyone sings during it, but he's literally just called Drake in front of 250 odd million people that word, and he's finished."
But you know what it is, Henry? Nobody cares about the truth when the lies are more entertaining, right? Of course, if you drop buzzwords, it sounds more appealing now because it's like, yo, he called Drake this word.
You know what?
In the court of public opinion, it's over now. So unless Drake would have come out and accused him of something crazy,
they're not accusations when there's
but Henry here, we're not getting into that on here because it's my channel and I don't want a lawsuit from Drake. He's got a lot of money, but legitimately, and I'll direct him your way, bruv. You can show him your chair. Right, for me, I don't think people realize. I know that the beefs might be real, but it's just so good for both of them because they both make millions out of it. That's why I don't think people. That's why I don't get involved in. Do you remember
Drake
when
was making his millions anyways? This guy only reason he won a Grammy.
Drake has been carrying music since
the only reason he won a Grammy with that song is because Drake's name's in it. If he was dissing someone else, he would won a Grammy.
Now hold on, wait. To be fair, Staffy, Kendrick already had a lot of Grammys before this, so
I'm talking about this song. I'm saying the only reason it won a Grammy is because of that.
Okay, and I get it, and I'm not saying that they needed each other per se, right? I know both of them they're both millionaires, they're both killing it. What I'm saying is, this is why I don't get involved in these beefs, because you're like the cannon fodder. They're both going to make money out of it. They're both, to a degree, laughing about it because they're making money. It was like, do you remember when that porn star, that bloke, married another porn star, and then a week later she did a scene with another dude, and it went viral.
Whatever his name is.
And everybody was like, attacking him. And I remember just sitting back going, you lot are dickheads. You've fallen for the trap. Now, you might go, I remember people saying to me, no, we didn't fall for no trap, but we're just calling that degeneracy. But they don't care that you think they're degenerates. You're making their name popular. I didn't know who they were until their trolls started talking about them and it come up on the TL. Said, I haven't. Obviously, I don't do it. But I said, do you know how many more people have probably signed up to their OnlyFans? They probably made millions out of everybody panicking. If you actually want to make these beefs go away, if you don't want a certain person to get famous for being controversial, don't talk about it, don't tweet about it, don't speak about it. It goes away. I always say that about YouTubers people don't like. If you want a certain YouTuber you dislike to disappear, don't share their stuff, don't click them up, don't talk about them, don't speak about them. This is what I don't think people realize. The more you push them out there, the more popular they will get. They don't go away. So it's, for me, that's the irony in all of it. I find so funny is just the way, like grown men arguing. Like last night, there's these group of guys on the table near us arguing over who won the battle. And I'm sitting there looking at my mates. We're all like 38 to 45. We're sort of looking at each other thinking, who gives a fuck? I don't know. Maybe it's my age. Maybe I'm an old man, but there we go.
No, I'm the same, Terry. I wouldn't know who Drake was if I fell over him. I ain't got a clue. I know that Kendrick Lamar is, but Drake.
Wait, you know Kendrick Lamar is, but not Drake.
But you don't know.
I know his music, and I can't stand it. Bring me Dr. Dre any day of the week. All these new fandangled rappers are a load of shit.
No, I quite like Drake's music. To be fair, it's all right,
No,
it used to be all right. Now it's just
Drake is the GOAT. Let's just get this
right.
Let's just get this right.
Hang on, he's not Eminem or Vanilla Ice.
No, hold on, Terry. Drake has been making bangers since I was in 7th grade. He's carried
because
music.
You're a child.
Yeah, and Eminem's been making bangers since he was 2.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, he's very. When you say, are you talking just in the rap genre or music in general?
Just music.
Whatever you want, Drake could do it.
He's nothing on Michael
Maybe
Jackson
one
as well.
genre that Drake
I can't
has
put him.
not
I can't put him
been
above Jackson. I can't put him above the Beatles. I can't do that. I can't do that.
Beatles?
The Beatles, yes.
Nah, let me stop.
Yeah, but listen. I always give anyone who sells records, I give credit to. Whether I don't like Pavarotti, but I respect what he is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I like some of Drake's stuff. Drake's got some good music, but I don't get involved in the one thing I never knew existed is the beef in music. Even as a kid, I didn't realize how much Boyzone fans hated Westlife fans. I never knew.
Take that, E17.
Well, I just don't think boys my age, young men my age, none of us cared. If you turned up, who'd you like listening to? And someone said, actually, I suppose there was a little bit with Blur and Oasis. There might have been a bit with Blur and Oasis, but that was like the rockers, and I weren't in with those guys. Like I listened to more R&B and hip hop, and just no bloke I knew as a young man would have a fight with another geezer over who made the best album, Justin Timberlake or Usher. No one cared. No one had fights over it. The younger generation is tapped, I tell you, fighting over two men singing songs. It's fucking amazing. I love it. Terry, you know me as an Arsenal fan, but I think Chelsea were robbed the other day, just like Palace against us. We can hate VAR all we want, but imagine what the refs could get away with without it. Look, do you know what, JB? There was definitely mistakes over the weekend, and it showed why VAR and technology is needed. What I call out on a weekly basis is the poor implementation of that system and the inconsistencies within it more than anything else. Man United's goal should have been ruled out. I understand there could have been a handball in the build-up to Brighton's second goal. That's why we need it. And it's why we need the refs to do a better job. Otherwise, we could eventually lose it and go back to what we saw this weekend is what happened every weekend in the Premier League forever. Just horrendous decisions, and there was no recourse. VAR was meant to stop that from happening. The squad building has been severely underrated. Without a box striker, signings like Neto and Sancho are pretty much useless. I hear that. Terry, have you seen Montoya? Is that guy that saw his girlfriend cheating?
Yeah. Por favor.
Do you know what I thought was funny about it, right? I put the sound because I see it everywhere, so I clicked on it. And the first thing I see was some bloke slapping his girlfriend's butt cheeks in the pool. It's the noise. And I was like, but the thing was this, right? I don't feel sorry for him either, though. You're signing up. I don't know what the show is. But we have ones in England, and I've seen them advertised where you get couples that go into a game show, and then part of the game show is for them to go on dates with other people's boyfriends and girlfriends, and then it gets filmed and they all watch it back.
This one is even worse, Terry, but because I didn't know what was going on either, and then I saw this one girl. She made a TikTok explaining, if you don't know what's going on, I'm gonna explain it to you. It's basically a temptation show where the girls from relationships, they go to their own villa, and then the guys go into a different villa. And the idea is not to match different dates, like Love is Blind. Not the Love is Blind. I forgot the other one, the Ultimatum or whatever. This one is for them to just get seduced by single men or women, depending obviously which camp you're in, and to see if you will resist temptation or not. So the whole idea is that your girlfriend is there with a bunch of other girlfriends from the guys that are in the villa with you. They just get, basically for, I don't know how long it is, they just get flirted with. They get tempted to sleep with these guys or whatever. And it's up to them to find out if these girls are going to resist the temptation or not.
So question, do the women and men that are being flirted with, the flirtee, are they aware they're being filmed that's going to be shown to other people?
Yes, but the other people can't see until, so I think they do some type of challenges or whatever. Until the end. They get to pick one person to get to watch a live footage.
And what's the point of the end of it? Because what I mean by that is, if it's like if you stay together as a couple, you win loads of money, then nothing could tempt me. I'm going to win the money. I don't understand why someone would cheat on camera. I'm so confused.
I don't know. If that was some type of relationship bonding, I'm going to tell you that's shitty.
I saw him on the beach. And this is how I was thinking, this show is cruel. But equally, he signed up for it. It was the way he was screaming, but he was holding the backs of his legs as he was screaming. That is what my 5-year-old boy does.
Real pain.
And I was like, rah, bruv, this is degeneracy.
Apparently, she did that because he got a lap dance. So she was like, oh, she saw him get a lap dance on a video of a footage. He didn't know. So she was like, oh, I'm going to get back at him.
Okay, so but what did she do with the guy? Was it just a little kissing and
No. They were
They
were
did
doing
it.
it.
They did it.
They did it. Now they didn't show them doing it, but they had the blanket over them, and yeah.
Did he watch the whole thing?
Well, no, because he watched some of it and then he started running towards the villa. I guess looking to like stop what was going on. So
that was live, by the way. It wasn't like even like old. Like he gets to see what's going on live right now. Live, he sees that his girl is getting done by another man.
The thing is, as well, though, what I'm gonna say is this: she obviously her retaliation is a big. It's not an equal reaction.
No,
I feel less sorry for him now though because he had a lap dance first. And
Henry, I'm sorry, not Henry. Like Terry, no.
It's not the same thing at all.
No.
I didn't say it was the same thing. She went one level, but at the end of the day, like
one level,
this is 10 levels. But this is what's happened, right? This is what's happened. I haven't watched it, but this is what happened. I'm gonna get him back. Because he just had a lap dance with a girl. But then she's gone into a situation and then she's got lost in the emotion and the lust of it. It's still his fault because he's allowed that situation to happen. No. If he hadn't cheated first, she wouldn't have cheated. Because he cheated.
Jimbo gets a lap dance.
What are you talking about?
If I was Montoya, I wouldn't. I'm sorry. Never mind.
It's cheating.
Lap dance is not a cheat. What's Sarah saying here? Come
on. Hold on. Staffy, if your girl gave a guy a lap dance, that's 100% cheating.
No, that's different though. I'm saying a guy getting a lap dance.
Okay, let me. I think it is. Let me context this. Was it from a lap dancer, stroke stripper, stroke pole dancer, or just a standard woman in the place?
I don't know.
I don't think
I haven't watched.
Because this is the thing. If my other half went to a sort of Magic Mike night and she put a bit of cream on a stripper's back, I think it's a bit of fun. If she was out at a friend's house and a random guy was there and she's rubbing cream over him, that's different. That's different. The context.
I don't think it's different. I think it's all cheating.
I think it's all
that's crazy.
I think going to a show is different.
But
I think
the fact
going to
that you even wanted to go to Magic Mike, you just cheated. Like the fact that you brought it up.
Oh my God.
I'm not worried.
I'm going Magic Mike. You are joking. I would go every night if I could.
I know couples that go to strip clubs together. I swear to God.
Yeah, I know couples that do that. By the way, Henry tried out for Magic Mike. Do you know what he does there? He cleans up the popcorn afterwards. The super chat here says that he got a lap dance out of revenge as well. Lol, she was cuddling the same. Oh, okay. See, I haven't watched it, so I
didn't even know that. There you
go.
The
worst part is now I'm gonna have to fucking watch this shit because I'm getting into it. But that's how it gets me. This stuff, shit TV. But once you start getting into it, you can't help it. I'm not gonna watch it.
I did a match reaction to that, so we do Terry does a Montoya reaction, and then he sends us all the link.
If you watch it, Terry, you definitely don't change. Don't put it in English. Just have the subtitles on, because in Spanish you're getting the full effect.
Yeah. Well, I do that when I watch Squid Game. I know that's not that's recorded. Yeah. I prefer the subtitles because you hear the real acting, not the dubbed version. This here says, "I'm sorry, these Gen Zs calling Drake the GOAT are as deluded as Spurs fans protesting. Snoop,
I think we're Gen Z.
Big E, Eminem are the real hip hop.
Yeah, bro, this is not the 80s. Nobody want to hear that boom bap. All right, this is
what are you talking about? Eminem and the
Get on out of here.
Who Easy is?
Mom spaghetti. Get up out of here, man.
To be fair, I sent Will a screenshot of music I was listening to a few weeks ago, and it was Eminem, and he was his response was in 2025. So Will is a hater.
Hang on, why are you two sending screenshots of the music you're listening to each other?
Like it was in a group chat. Like I forgot what happened.
What are you listening to, Will? Screenshot and show me. Oh my God. No, I'm joking. Have a look at the list of Spurs players sent on loan. I'll have a go and look later, mate. I will. None of you like heavy metal music. No, I don't listen to heavy metal.
No, get that garbage out.
I'm black. I have a bit of AC/DC.
No, do you know what? There's always a song or two that's all right. But I went to school. I went to school in the era with a lot of goths, and they put me off all that kind of music, Korn and all that stuff. And what was the one? This girl used to walk around that school. This girl called Amy used to walk around that school singing Slipknot songs, and it was just screaming, and it was mad. She's a nursery nurse now. It's a mad way the world changes. Yeah.
I was a goth back in the day. I'm not gonna lie. Black lipstick, the lot.
This shit is as realistic as sacking Maresca. We were going to talk a little bit about Liverpool and cook them, but because no Liverpool fans turned up today, we're going to save that for another show later in the week because they ain't getting away with it. They're not getting away with it. One of the worst and the biggest FA Cup upsets in the history of our game, and none of them showed up. I might get LB to cook them tomorrow on the top on Straight Facts. As someone who has grown up listening to and is a massive fan of rap and hip hop since KRS-One slaps MC Sean with the bridge is over. No way is Drake the GOAT. Once you've cried to that courts, once you've cried to the courts, you've lost.
Yeah, you've got people like Kanye West that aren't even being mentioned.
Yeah, we're not going to bring him up after his weekend on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
no,
weekend. Him as a person, but the Graduation album is ridiculous. Homecoming, like Drake had Take Care. And since then, it's been a decline. And I liked
Michael Bublé's version of Home. That was brilliant.
You got to admit, Will, Take Care is his best album.
Look, I don't care what's the best album. All that I know is that Drake makes the best music.
Like, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. When I'm going out at night, I'm going out last night and I was driving there. I go on to because I don't do Spotify because everyone does Spotify. I do Amazon Music because you got to be different. And I just go,
so cool.
I just go, I'm a rogue. I just go to Drake and I put it on shuffle, and his music it's got a vibe, man. I do like Drake's music. I'm not gonna lie, it's got a vibe.
That's what I'm saying. Like nobody ever says, "Yo, like we're all riding in like a car." Yo, throw on that Kendrick album, but nobody says that. Like,
right,
stop forcing yourself to like Kendrick because he's dissing the GOAT. Come on.
I said it like Drake. Has he been cancelled at all? Am I not allowed to? There's no like R. Kelly stuff or Diddy stuff going on, right? Cool.
It's all defamation anyway.
Because I don't follow the news. I don't really watch the news. I never know when anyone's. It's only the other day I found out that Puff was in trouble, and I was like, oh.
The other day you found that out?
No, like 2 months ago. Like, because yeah, like I'll say the other day, it was a while ago, and I was like, oh,
bro, that's right. What's his name? Is a hypocrite, anyways, Kendrick, because he be riding with Puff, but then he's calling someone else a pedo. What's going on here?
They don't want to speak about this stuff.
They don't want to lift up the rug and see because they're all in it. Oh well, I'm going to shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, leave it there, please. I can't imagine Terry listening to who?
Chief
no,
Keef.
No, I haven't listened to Chief Keef. I don't think
he's got a song called. Is it Soul? What Soul? Not Salsa. What's it called?
Yeah, what's it called? Yeah, it is Salsa. I think it is. Yeah, it is him. Will, right?
Something like that, bro. Chief Keef. Yeah. Nah, we're just.
These bitches like so. You don't know that? Come on, man.
Nah, like Terry, Chief Keef before a stream, you'll come on with different energy.
Listen, I'm gonna give it a little listen. I'll give it a listen. I'm always open-minded to new music or stuff I haven't listened to before. Because a few years ago, I never heard of him, and then I started listening to two rappers. I started listening to from the States. Chance, the rapper, from Chicago, and so I was like, that's pretty decent. And there was another guy. I forget his name now. I listened to his album; it was really good. He had a song about Spider-Man.
I went and saw Blade a few weeks ago, a Swedish rapper with my son who loves him. So, you know, I'm open-minded, but all this talk about
you were talking about the Vampire Hunter. I was like, they dropped
I was like, that film's old.
Yeah, I was like, wait, like they dropped that? I didn't know.
No, two E's, see? See, I'm down with the kids.
Mm-hmm. As soon as you say you're down with the kids, it's over. You're so cool, man. Cool dude. Evening, who's going to win, City or Real Madrid? What you saying, Will? You confident?
No, to be honest, but I think that we will win. But I'm just not confident. Nah. It's basically the Champions League Classico. It's actually boring. We don't have defense, but they also have their problems. It's going to be a very high scoring 2 legs. So
who's available in your back line? Because I could swear both of you guys don't have defenders.
Yeah. So Rudiger's out. Lucas Vazquez is out. David Alaba is out. Yeah, it's not good, but you know, Tchouaméni and Raul Asensio had a big game against Atleti, so you know that gives me a little bit more confidence. But I just believe that we'll beat them because of their midfield. Like their midfield's bad, and Nico Gonzalez, I think he got injured against Leyton Orient, so that makes me like not happy that he's injured, but seeing Bernardo Silva in a double pivot against Jude, Camavinga, you know, possibly
Rodrigo's the danger man.
It makes me happy to see that. So it's going to be high scoring because we've just not been that good this season anyway. So
I'm that confident Madrid will go. Who's the NBA guy who always says Lakers in 5?
Lakers in 5.
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know what the football equivalent would be, but I'm that confident. I think Madrid will score a lot of goals past that Man City.
Well, look, like Henry, I was confident that we'd beat Espanyol, a team that was sitting 18th, and they beat us 1-0.
This is your competition.
We lost to a language. Like we're just not good this season. I'm be real with you, bro. Like it's really not been a good season at all. Like,
but with all that being said, you're still top of the league by 1 or 2 points, and you have got City's number. And Rodrigo always turns up against them.
We actually don't have City's number. They've beaten us more times than we've beaten them.
Oh wow! I thought it was the other way around.
They beat us like 5 times. I think we beat them like 3, like 2 draws, something like that. I don't know.
See, I'm looking at Jude and Mbappe, and though because I know Vinny, he will step up because he always does. But it's those two. The spotlight's going to be on them, and they have to deliver now.
Well, so the big matchup for me is Vinicius, since it's been this new year, has been dog water, right? Like he's not been good. He's been our worst attacking player. Now, I know that City don't really have a right back at the moment, and I know that Matheus Nunes starts there. So that to me, it does kind of fall on Vinny because that's the matchup where I'm thinking you have to kill this guy. Yeah. Like and I don't have any doubts that Vinny can do it. It's just the form that he's on. But yeah, Rodrigo's been on great form. And Mbappe's definitely turned it around. And I mean, look, we all know that Rodrigo will definitely score. He's playing Man City, so he is going to score. It's just the midfield battle, and then Vinicius with Matheus Nunes at right back. That's kind of like where I think that.
I think it's going to be such a chaotic game because, I mean, you guys had some chaotic clashes over the last few years, to be fair. Except that one game where it was like super boring and you guys won on penalties. But from some of the absences that you guys have, there will be a lot of goals. I'll tell you that. Like I'm ready. I'm coming in tomorrow on an empty stomach, and I'm ready. Because there'll be at least 4 or 5 goals in this game. That's what I think. But I will urge you guys. I've seen City struggle with pace all season. It's not just the midfield. If you could just move the ball quick against City, you're already somewhere there. And you have nothing more than pace up front. And I know Vinny's been having a bad period of time right now. But this is probably the time for him to bounce back because this is the big occasion. He likes to play in the Champions League. He's had a lot of man-of-the-match performances. And as you said, he's going against Nunes. And even if that doesn't work and he doesn't really do a lot, you got Mbappe. And listen, I like Diaz, but Diaz's best abilities is box defending. And I think he's going to be running. God bless him. He's going to be running a lot tomorrow just trying to track back Vinny and Mbappe. And I think you guys are going to win it just because of that. In a chaotic game that's not organized, I back you guys.
Yeah, and also, I just think, again, that midfield, like, you got Bernardo Silva. This guy can't do 5 push-ups, but he's going to be in a pivot. I just feel like we're going to bully them, because, we're very physical. Like, all of our midfielders are very physical, and I think that's where we'll win the game. But, look, I tell you what, Kate, Henry, if we don't get to the round of 16, Carlo Ancelotti will be available. I tell you that right now. If you need a new manager, he's washed now, by the way, right? The football has clearly left him. But if you really do want a new manager, he will be available. If
still
we
could
are
do
not
Spurs.
Say it again?
We'd kill him off if he come to Spurs. We'd break everyone.
If he can't manage this Madrid team, you think he can manage the Spurs team? Come on, what are we doing here?
There we go.
Better players.
Listen, people, I want to thank everyone who has tuned in. This is going to redirect you to Sam's show, A-Listers, so make sure you get yourselves over there and support. We're back tomorrow with more content, including Straight Facts in the afternoon at 3:30 UK time, and, of course, reacting to the big Madrid versus City game. Everyone on the panel, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate it. To all of the super chatters, a big thank you to all of you. I'm off to go and watch this Montoya thing. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.
Team Drake.